Hey everyone, and welcome to this latest episode of my 2023 Natural Bodybuilding Competition Prep Series. My goodness, what a tongue twister that was. So we're now just finishing the 32nd week of the prep, and I'm already 4 weeks out from my first competition. We're pretty close. This week, to be completely honest, was very, very tough. I actually would say that this has been the toughest week of prep so far. So why is that? It's mostly like related to stress. It's more of a like stress related difficulties more than anything else. I would say that for me, and I'll give you details as I go here, but for me, I don't struggle terribly with things like physical discomfort. So like the discomfort you experience when you're training, like that's not something that really freaks me out. In fact, I mean, for those of you who are watching who also love training or perhaps are competing yourselves, you almost likely seek out the discomfort, which is, I suppose, what I do. I seek out the discomfort when I'm training because that's what drives for more muscle growth, is that high amount of mechanical tension, or at the very least it's what's maintaining my muscle now, is experiencing that kind of physical discomfort. I'm also not afraid of the discomfort that comes with like being hungry. I mean, it's not the most pleasant feeling in the world, but it's not something that I shy away from or I'm scared of. I'm not afraid of things like low energy, that kind of discomfort. It's tough, but it's not something that, it's not a kryptonite of mine. I would say my biggest kryptonite is probably like stress and how I react to it. So this week was very tough in that regard. So just a couple broad details, more or less. So last weekend, Rachel and I went, and we had an amazing weekend. We went and we rented a little Airbnb for a couple days and visited some family away from a couple hour drive away from home here. We had an amazing weekend. Then we drove back on Monday. And when I got back on Monday, I was left with a little bit of an unpleasant kind of personal logistics problem, more or less. And without really getting into what it just hit me like it was a huge wave of stress. Like it was just, and I'm sure that if you're watching this, you've experienced this kind of thing before. You're like, completely unsuspecting, and then all of a sudden it's like something just, you just get hit by some kind of surprise, and it's a massive wave of stress kind of punching you right in the gut. And that's kind of what happened in like Monday morning after we'd driven back home fairly early in the morning. So that's kind of what started my week off. Now, the issue that like I was experiencing was something that is pretty much solved now. So I feel a whole heck of a lot better. But between that Monday and Wednesday evening, when I was, doing everything in life that I needed to do, work, training, stay on track with prep, it was very, very difficult. It was pretty darn uncomfortable, very, very draining. By the time I got to like Thursday in the middle of the day, like after I'd already kind of started to feel better and my adrenal glands had kind of like calmed down a little bit, I just felt so drained. It just really sucked a lot of my energy. But anyways, yeah, so that Monday to Wednesday, it was pretty tough. Like if you guys are watching this, like, I mean, everyone experiences stress. It's just the kind of thing where like it was 3 days of just had to get through it. It was something that I could solve on my end, and I did. And but some kind of stress related things, like it takes time. You can't solve things instantly. So it took about 3 days to get everything figured out, and we got it figured out, and we're now feeling a whole heck of a lot better. But geez Louise, those 3 days were tough. And I think that it's like stress management can be a little bit more tough when you're on a prep too. So I'm starting to get pretty darn lean at this point. So my head isn't completely as screwed onto my shoulders as it usually is when I have a little bit more body fat on my body. So it was a challenge. To be honest, like it's Friday at the time of me recording this. It's Friday right now, so I'm still in the middle of my low days. We're pushing hard for fat loss here too. Like we got 4 weeks to try to get as shredded as peeled, if you will, as we possibly can. So we haven't slowed down at all. I'm getting the end of the week. That's when I tend to get the lowest, like as far as energy goes, my energy levels get the lowest. I get the most tired. I feel, not my strongest. So here I am, and I'm kind of still feeling the residual effects of the stress hit between Monday and Wednesday. Now, that all being said, we got through it. So that's huge. And, to be perfectly upfront, like stress management, like is something that is a skill, I feel. And it's one that since I was like in music school, it's something that I've needed to work on. And I've done a lot of work on it over the past 5 years or so, like a lot, like how to react to stress and the feelings that come with it. And I think, honestly, although I was incredibly uncomfortable through the point of experiencing this, I think I reacted to it pretty well, like considering my nature and what my strengths and weaknesses are. I'm actually feeling happy about how I reacted to it. And I've got some really awesome people in my corner helping me out with this stuff too. So I got, of course, my fiance, who, geez Louise, I don't know what I'd do without her. So she's like just been incredibly like supportive and comforting through the whole process, of course. And I've got people like Jeff, my goodness. So he's incredibly wise, and he kind of had some really good, we'll just say, wisdom as to like how to manage this kind of thing when you're experiencing it. And it's just very reassuring, like, hey, it's gonna all be okay. And sure enough, it's all gonna be okay. And so yeah, and I called other family as well too. Like I even called my mom. I was like, can I get some motherly advice here? And that was helpful as well. So I've got some good support in my corner here. And at the end of the day, we got through it. We, still feeling a little bit of the residual effects of it. But the majority of, like, basically the root cause of the stress is pretty much, like, we're feeling good about it now. It was a process, and we feel pretty drained from it, but we made it. And that's the other thing too, that's the other thing that I'm really proud of myself for is, despite having gone through all that little bit of we'll say a bump in the road here, we didn't miss anything. So we got all of the training in. We trained hard the whole time. So it was my Monday and Wednesday workouts. We still got them in despite the feelings. We stayed in the workouts, like the mind stayed in the workouts. I actually love training because it helps me with stress management. So it was actually something that I considered to be very helpful. And in addition to that, I stayed 100% on point with my nutrition too. So we did not add an extra calorie. We didn't do anything outside of what we normally do. We stuck with the parameters to the T. So we didn't lose any ground at all. So, and heck, we even got our steps in. So I'm just a very routine oriented person. So that actually helps me to stay on track. I think I would have felt bad if I veered away from things. So for me personally, and I know some people do this when they get really stressed. A lot of times they'll revert, like they'll do things that aren't helpful to kind of numb their pain. So like eat a tub of ice cream, or, just give up on work for the day or whatever. Like for me, I'm not like that. Usually me sticking with my routine and continuing to make progress in the ways that I can, like that's what helps me personally more than anything else. I would have felt really terrible if I ate extra calories, if I ate like an extra, tub of ice cream or something like that, or if I skipped my workout. My goodness, that would have been something that's the worst case scenario for me. So I stuck with everything. I'm proud of myself for it, but I guess at the end of the day, that's the easiest thing for me. So it wasn't actually tough for me. Well, it was uncomfortable for me to stick with it because it's so much in my head, but yeah, we got through it. But anyways, guys, like I wanted to share this with you that, yeah, it was not a smooth week, but we got through it. And I think it's just important to share that, like if you're watching this and you're prepping or you've prepped before and you've had weeks that were really hard, like you're not crazy. You're not the only one. This was my hardest week. Of all the 32 weeks that I've done, I've had some tough weeks, but this was, I think, by far the hardest because of this little bit of a stress hit here. But again, we got through it. And I think it's important to be transparent that, yeah, you know, a lot of times I come on these vlogs or these episodes and it's like, yeah, everything's going great. Like, you know, training's still going strong. Like the strength is still there. We're still sticking with the diet. We're feeling motivated and confident and excited. You know, like I come on a lot of the time and that's the attitude. But I think it's important to show too that, yeah, sometimes some weeks are really hard and you suffer a little bit through it. So that's what this week has been a little bit. But you know what? We saw the light at the end of the tunnel. We're pretty much there. Feel a lot better. We're 4 weeks out now. So we're, you know, this is kind of the funnest part. It's the hardest part, but also the funnest part too, because we're so close. The excitement is so high. The changes are getting really cool. I've been doing, so I just this morning, we had an early posing practice session with Jeff. I did. And so we're fine-tuning the posing. That's getting better. So the presentation on stage is going to be pretty clean and crispy. That's the intention. Doing a lot of practice with that, and it's cool now getting to continue practicing the posing because I'm starting to see my physique really change in ways that I've never seen it. So yeah, we got some good positives here in the mix of the chaos that this week has entailed. As far as my low, so my lowest weigh-in was actually last Sunday at the end of my after my 6th low day. I got down to 175.2, so I'm in the 175s now. Holy moly, that was the goal when Jeff and I first sat down. Was we probably are going to get down to 175. So we're there. We're 175.2 at our lowest. And we're probably going to go down at least a couple more pounds before the first competition. So wouldn't be surprised if we're like 172, 173 at our very lowest. I'm going to be a middleweight, I suppose, for when I'm competing. I think for all of my competitions, I'm going to be a middleweight, which I'm really excited for. I think it's going to be a really stacked class. That's what Jeff's kind of reminding me too. Like, yeah, the middleweight's stacked class. So yeah, I'm pumped for it. Like I want to be able to stand up there with some other really amazing physiques and, you know, have a lot of fun. And I think that's what's going to happen is and it's going to be a really good experience for me. Again, this is not my first rodeo. This is my 4th prep season, but this is I think going to be my most successful prep. And I think it's going to be the most fulfilling. It already feels like the most fulfilling prep that I've ever done. I definitely am the most advanced I've ever been. I'm definitely seeing my physique in a way I've never seen it before. So speaking of that, here's some shots. Here's what I look like this week. Keep in mind, this is me very stressed. You can't really see it, but I'm very stressed, and that might be affecting how I look. I might be holding extra water, body water, because of the stress. Not really sure. My eyes for it are not amazing. Jeff didn't really have any no red flags came up when I sent him the photos earlier this week and when we had our check-in this morning. So I think we're okay. So now I know what I'll look like if I'm really stressed on show day. So that's a bonus. We know that now. But yeah, things are going good. I'm sticking with the plan. I've got 6 low days, by the way, 2,050 calories, about that, just above 2,000 calories. And then I've got just 1 high day now. So we're pushing for fat loss, and that's just under 3,000 calories. So yeah, we're feeling it. We're feeling deficit, but I love it. I love the feeling because it's, you know, it's an indicator that we are making progress. We're moving in the right direction. We've got 4 weeks to see how crispy we can make this physique for that competition. I'm ready to push basically as hard as is appropriate. Of course, Jeff's reminding me, like, you know, we're not chasing just the shreds, the striated glutes, but the whole package: balance, symmetry, muscularity, and conditioning. So that's what we're working for. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions about prep or natural bodybuilding, what have you, drop them in the comments. I'd love to get back to you on those as soon as possible. If you like the video, please go ahead and like it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to, for more videos. We're getting pretty close. We're going to document all the competitions. I got 4 of them stacked up. If I'm eligible for all 4 of them, if I qualify for all of them. But that's the plan. So yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff coming this way. We're really in the meat of it now. We're under 4 weeks. My goodness. It's, you know, 32 weeks of prep it's no joke, but we're getting there. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.